Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Metzia, page 75. A, top of the page, with the words Halvani Kor Chitin. Lend me a core of wheat, and the lender may set a price for him, stating that the borrower must repay the wheat in the future according to the value of wheat at the time of the loan. If by the time the borrower must repay the loan, the wheat depreciates in value, he gives the lender a quantity of wheat equivalent to what he borrowed, and if it appreciates, he gives the value of the wheat he borrowed as per the market rate when he borrowed it, as agreed, but no more. Wheat has an English gematria value of 57. Okay. The Gemara questions this ruling. 57 is wheat, and 75 is the daf that we're on. It's a connection. The Gemara questions this ruling. If the price of wheat depreciates, why should it be permitted for the borrower to pay him with wheat worth less than the value of the amount borrowed? But he fixed a price at the time of the loan, and therefore the borrower owes him this amount of money. Rav Sheshet said, this is what the Tana is saying. If the lender did not set a price, but merely lent him wheat, and it depreciates in value, the lender takes his wheat, as they did not agree that the borrower must repay the wheat according to its value at the time that the loan was taken out. But if it appreciates in value, the borrower gives the value of the wheat he borrowed as per the market rate when he borrowed it, in order to avoid the payment of interest. Mishnah, new Mishnah. The Mishnah says, a person may not say to another, lend me a core of wheat, and I will give it back to you at the time the wheat is brought to the granary, as the wheat may increase in value. Which would mean that when he gives him back a core of wheat, at the time the wheat is brought to the granary, it is worth more than the value of the loan, and he therefore will have paid interest. But he may say to him, lend me a core of wheat for a short period of time, for example, until my son comes, or until I find the key, as there's no concern about a change in price during such a short interval of time. And Hillel prohibits the practice even in this case. And Hillel would similarly say, a woman may not lend a loaf of bread to another unless she establishes its monetary value, lest the wheat appreciate in value before she returns it, and they will therefore have come to transgress the prohibition of interest. Gemara, the Talmud says, Rav Huna said, one who has a se'ah of an item in his house may borrow a se'ah of that item. Since he has available a se'ah that he could give back right away, he may borrow one se'ah, and similarly, if he has two se'ah available, he may borrow two se'ah. Rabbi Yitzchak says, even if he has only one se'ah, he may borrow several core in reliance upon it, since he can repay part of the loan immediately, and as the market value has yet to change, there is only a concern about future interest. This concern is mitigated when it does not apply to the entire loan. The Gemara comments, Rabbi Chia teaches a Braita in support of Rabbi Yitzchak's ruling. If one does not have a drop of wine, or if he does not have a drop of oil, he may not borrow wine or oil. Consequently, by inference, it can be derived. If he does not have a drop of wine or oil, he may borrow many drops in reliance upon it, as the Tana is certainly not referring to a case where he borrows just a few meager drops. The Mishnah teaches and Hillel prohibits this practice. Rav Nachman says that Shmuel says the halacha is in accordance with the statement of Hillel. The Gemara comments, but the halacha is not, in fact, in accordance with the ruling of Shmuel. The Mishnah teaches, and Hillel would similarly say, a woman may not lend even a loaf of bread due to concern that she will violate the prohibition of interest. Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says this is the statement of Hillel. But the rabbis say that one may borrow various types of foods without specification and repay them without specification. If neighbors are not particular with one another about these items, there is no concern about interest, in contrast to Hillel's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says, with regard to members of a group of people that eat together who are particular with each other, and insist that each pay for precisely what he ate. If they dine together on Shabbat, they transgress a prohibition with regard to the strictures of measure, and with regard to the strictures of weight, and with regard to the strictures of counting, all of which are calculations that are forbidden on Shabbat. And they transgress a prohibition with regard to lending and repaying on a festival. And according to the statement of Hillel, they also transgress the prohibition with regard to interest. And Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says, it is permitted for Torah scholars to borrow from one another with interest. The Gemara explains what is the reason for this. It is because they are fully aware that interest is prohibited, and therefore they do not intend the loan to be a formal business transaction. They willingly forego the additional payments to each other at the outset, and the extra payment is a gift they give one another. The Gemara relates that Shmuel said to Avu bar Ihi, lend me 100 peppers in exchange for 120 peppers that I will give you at a later date. And you should know that this matter is fitting and appropriate, as I intend that the additional 20 peppers be a gift. Similarly, Rabbi Yehuda says that Rav says it is permitted for a person to lend to his sons and the members of his household with interest, in order to have them taste the taste of interest, so that they'll understand how interest increases and how hard it is to repay it, which will discourage them from ever borrowing with interest again. The Gemara comments, but this is not correct, because the members of this household may become corrupted by doing so, and act similarly with others, in cases when there is no justification for such behavior. Mishnah, a person may say to another, weed the wild growths from my field with me now, and I will weed your field with you at a later stage. Or, till my field with me today, and I will till with you on a different day. But he may not say to him, weed with me today, and I will till with you a different day. Or, till with me today, and I will weed with you, as due to the different nature of the tasks, it is possible that one of them will have to work harder than the other did, which is a type of interest, since he repaid him with additional labor.